I think people often forget that gaming's an art form. I mean, I can understand why. I don't think anyone's ever broken a monitor looking at a Picasso painting. Occasionally though, there comes one of those games that is just so special that it doesn't just remind you that video games are art. It transcends art. Video games give the player a unique opportunity to not just observe art, but actually partake in it. So this is what leads me to a special little game called Outer Wilds. And I mean this when I say this. There is no other game on the market like Outer Wilds. I can always play a game that's kinda like Overwatch, a game that's kind of like Risk of Rain, but there will never, ever be another Outer Wilds. If you haven't played this game, and you're still here after that montage, let me explain what Outer Wilds actually is. To sum it up, Outer Wilds is an exploration/puzzle game where you uncover the mysteries of a solar system with a small issue that the sun keeps exploding. Every day you wake up in this game and you have 22 minutes to do whatever you need to do before you are incinerated by the full force of the sun. So yes, it's a time loop game. So then why is this game so interesting and unique? Well, it comes down to the fact that there aren't any levels in this game. When you wake up, everything's exactly the same. You will always begin in the exact same spot at the exact same time. The only thing you retain between each loop is what you were able to learn before you died. Now that might not sound as magical or as unique or as special as people make it out to be, but let me put this into perspective for you. You know the feeling you get when you figured out your own solution to a math problem that isn't the one that the teacher is teaching? That's kinda how the majority of Outer Wilds feels. A game where you can carve your own way of finishing the game that would feel like you're doing things unlike anyone else before you. That's why, in my opinion, Outer Wilds doesn't feel like any other video game. That would be putting it in the same conversation as Valorant. Instead, I'd consider Outer Wilds more like an experience, but not that kind of experience. That one's not very good. More so, the experience I'm talking about would be something closer to witnessing your first child be born, marrying someone, or buying your first house. I would know. I have experience doing these things all the time. So when I say that none of those experiences really compare to Outer Wilds, just keep that in mind when you go and buy this game. Switching back to, the actual video game, the secret sauce that truly solidifies Outer Wilds as one of the best games I've ever played is its lack of replay value. This is the first game I've ever played that is 100% unreplayable. Hearing that, you probably just went,
Actually, some of the most popular games on the faces of the planet have fantastic replay value, so saying that replay value isn't important for a good game is like saying, I like PB without the J.
Shut up, nerd! Outer Wilds uses the lack of replay value 100% to its advantage. The funny thing about being a time loop is that you have to be able to beat the game in that time loop. The game has to be beaten in 22 minutes. Well, it can actually be beaten in 7, but you won't know that when you first load in. That's where the fun comes in. And for a game that can be beaten in 7 minutes, it's kind of interesting to see that this game usually takes people 18 hours. It's not like the game's that big either. There's only about 6 or 7 main locations, or planets, that are pretty small, but jam-packed with lots of information. Exploration is the core of Outer Wilds, and it's unfortunately something I can't really talk about, because I don't want to ruin the exploration for you. So just trust me, it's really good. The point is here that I'd rather have an unreplayable game with a couple really solid and interesting planets instead of a game that is infinitely replayable with a bunch of planets with nothing on them. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to wake you. Go back to sleep. Go back to sleep. Alright, maybe I'm overselling this game a little bit, but seriously, I can't stress enough how much I enjoyed playing this game. If you are watching this, and you already own Outer Wilds, but you may have stopped playing because you got stuck at a certain segment, keep trying. The game isn't easy and the puzzles can be challenging, but no game feels more rewarding to finish than this one. Just whatever you do, do not look up anything. You will regret it forever. Now for me, I need to stop talking about this game because I don't want to give too much away. Hopefully I convince someone to start their first expedition, as the game calls it. In the meantime though, I'm gonna go ingest tons of microplastics, hopefully allowing me to develop dementia early so that I can finally start my first playthrough of Outer Wilds. What am I saying?